Today, we become legends.
Today's Titan Talk was mostly Q&A with some good questions about branching starter items, glyphs, green buff, the match lobby overhaul, and a whole lot more. So without further ado, let's jump into today's recap. First up, there's been a few hotfixes since the last show for some important bugs. Janus had a bug in Assault that could let you get outside the map, and that's been fixed. They're also aware of a similar issue in Joust that they're looking into. Tsukuyomi got a fix to the bug that let you cancel his 2 repeatedly without triggering the cooldown. Also, this ability is now properly not CC buffering, as it is a channel and shouldn't be. They also fixed an issue with voice volume not saving in your settings unless you were in a game. That should now work. They also fixed the candy pickups for the reaping event being invisible on low settings, and they also fixed the assists not being tracked for the reaping event quest. But moving into the Q&A for the show, first up, someone asked what happened to the all-white prism for the Soul skin, and Kilgun said that in the time between them showcasing and launching the update, the team went back and changed the prisms for the Soul and Ula skins to be a bit more involved and have some more changes than just color. So they have some different materials and stuff like that. The white prism was one of the ones they reworked, so that's why that's missing. Someone asked how many gods are still yet to get skins, and Kilgun said he thinks it's 2 or 3 or so, and they do have all of them planned on the skin calendar, so they should get them soon-ish. There's also only 4 cross-gen skins left to port as well, one of which is for Mercury, who's one of the gods without a skin. And Kilgun said that one should be either next patch or the patch after. Someone asked if they ever plan to increase the item limit from 6, and Kilgun said probably not. There's already effectively 7 item slots in Smite 2, and they feel like 6 general slots is the standard for a reason in MOBAs, and that makes it so you have important decisions to make in terms of building and spikes, what you can and what you can't have, rather than just having everything. It could also be hard to catch up if players could always keep pushing their lead with more items, whereas with a limit to the slots, you have to push your lead well and try and close out the game before the enemy also becomes 6-slotted. Yes, 3k power potions do give you infinite scaling, but they're nowhere near as effective as actual items. Someone asked a question basically saying that the quick play and action cam changes are turning Smite into a different game, and that's why it's retaining players and not because they're enjoying the core of what Smite is. Kilgun basically said that those players aren't just sticking with quick play, they are filtering into regular modes, and these kind of features just help to ease them into Smite and retain them for their first few hours in the game so that they can discover the depth of Smite without instantly leaving from being overwhelmed or not feeling like the game is really built for them. Just jumping in here again to let you know that I am streaming right now as this video goes out on both Twitch and YouTube, so if you want to come and say hi and watch the ranked grind, I'd appreciate that. We have a good time in there and we hit Demigod recently, and we're going to try and continue climbing up through Demigod, see how high we can get. So if you want to come say hi, the link for the Twitch will be down below, and on YouTube obviously you can just click on the channel. But yeah, back to the recap. There was a question on why Xbalanque is releasing before Osiris, and it feels very close to Hu Yi's release, and Kilgun said people seem to be mistaken in thinking that they always follow the exact same cycle of roles for releases, which they aren't doing. They are committed to shipping 1 god for each role within a set of 5, but not necessarily in the same role order every time. Sometimes a god just fits into their calendar at a certain time better than another would, and they've been switching things up based on that. Someone asked about green buff and if it will return, and Kilgun said they are open to bringing it back, but it feels like it's not one of the major things that Conquest needs right now compared to others, so it's probably not going to be in for the upcoming Conquest changes, and they generally feel like with how buffs can be stacked and how you can get multiple of the same buff via rotating buff camps and things like that, it's not as necessary for every role to have a dedicated buff in Smite 2, as they can be traded around a little bit or gotten from other sources. There was a question on Glyphs, and Kilgun said it's not on their current plans or anything, but never say never. He said Glyphs make the store UI a lot more confusing, but he does think it's an interesting idea. It just has some pros and some cons. Someone responded saying Glyphs are mid and they should just add new items, and Kilgun said he generally agrees with that. I followed up by asking about branching starter items, and Kilgun said it is something they've talked about and might come back, but it's not really the key thing that they feel they should be prioritizing right now within the game. He does feel like branching starters are probably more interesting than Glyphs and branching relics though, and they had a bit more variety in terms of both forms being used a little bit, whereas often with Glyphs and relics, people just used the best one until it got nerfed and then switched to the other one. There wasn't as much variety in which was used in any given meta compared to branching starters. I asked if the match lobby upgrade is still slated for the next update, and Kilgun said he isn't 100% sure right now. It's coming along nicely and they are still targeting the next update for it, but it's possible it slips into the update after. Someone asked about Tsukuyomi's hair and how it looks a lot better than the other variations of hair that they've tried in Smite 2, and Kilgun said he's seen a lot of that feedback on Reddit and in other places, and they appreciate that and will take it on board for further the releases. I asked them to tell me the meaning of life as a joke, and Kilgun said I now have to include their answer in the recap, so Hindu said he's not equipped to answer that, and Kilgun said it's to make the best of it and enjoy it. And finally, someone asked if there was a way they could mitigate losses when your team has a troll or lever, and Kilgun said it's a very hard problem to solve and no one has really done it yet for a team game like Smite because it's very hard to quantify performance. Some games your KDA is terrible but you made the game winning play, how is that factored in? Stuff like that. In regards to levers, it's a little bit easier, but you also don't want to set the system up in a way that inflates SR massively over time, which could happen if your team with levers loses nothing and the team that won gets full SR. This already happens if the lever's pre 10 minutes, but after that you're on your own. Also, I imagine if they did let you do this, it would be very abusable by someone leaving to prevent their allies losing SR and stuff like that. But that's everything discussed on today's Titan Talk. Don't forget to drop a like before you leave if you find these recaps useful, and I'll catch you guys for another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.